This is the Family Playbook, the show about your role in the family at every age. Your hosts are Robbie and Terry, both 15 every week. They figure out what is fair and what is expected as you grow up.
Welcome back to the Family Playbook, the show about your role in the family at every age. I'm Terry.
And I'm Robbie, and today we're asking the big question, are curfews about keeping you safe or just keeping you controlled?
Because nothing starts a family argument faster than be home by 10 when you had plans until midnight.
Midnight. Some of us are just getting warmed up at midnight, allegedly.
So let's actually look at the research, because there is research on this, which is both reassuring and slightly terrifying.
Studies show that teens who have consistent curfews report feeling more connected to their families, not less. Wrap your head around that.
I know. You'd think a curfew says I don't trust you, but apparently it can say I care where you are.
The flip side is how the curfew gets set. Was it a conversation or a decree handed down like a royal proclamation?
Hear ye, thou shalt returneth by 9:30. That's not parenting, that's a medieval edict.
Research from the American Academy of Pediatrics found that teens whose parents explained their rules had significantly better outcomes than teens who just got rules with no reason.
So the magic ingredient isn't the curfew itself, it's the why behind it.
Exactly. Be home by 10 because I love you and bad things statistically happen later hits different than just because I said so.
Speaking of statistics, crimes involving teens as victims actually peak between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. on school days, not at midnight.
Wait, so the most dangerous time for teenagers is right after school lets out?
Right after school lets out, which means a 10 p.m. curfew protects you from a Friday night diner trip.
Okay, to be fair, the late night risk goes up too. Different kinds of risk, more social pressure, fatigue, that whole thing.
True, tired teenagers make worse decisions. That is a fact I will reluctantly admit about myself.
The brain science backs it up. The prefrontal cortex, which handles risk assessment, isn't fully developed until around age 25.
25. So technically none of us should be making decisions until our mid-20s, including the adults setting the curfews.
I'm going to use that in my next negotiation. Dad, your prefrontal cortex was still cooking when you made this rule.
Bold strategy, report back.
But here's the thing. Knowing your brain is still developing doesn't mean you're bad at decisions. It means you need practice making them.
And curfews, when they're done right, can actually be that practice. You negotiate, you prove yourself, you earn more freedom.
It's basically a trust ladder. You make the 10 p.m., next month it's 11. By senior year, you're practically writing your own schedule.
Versus the parent who just never updates the curfew and you're 17 negotiating the same bedtime you had at 12.
That's where resentment lives, right in that frozen in-time curfew.
So what do teens actually want? Surveys say most teens don't want no rules, they want rules that make sense and flex over time.
Which is so reasonable. We're not asking for anarchy. We're asking for acknowledgement that we grew 3 inches and gained some judgment.
And parents, most of them anyway, aren't setting curfews because they enjoy the power trip.
Most of them are setting curfews because they remember being 15 and they know exactly what 15-year-olds are capable of.
Which is both flattering and alarming.
The sweet spot seems to be what researchers call authoritative parenting, warm but structured, with explanations and room for dialogue.
Not authoritarian, which is all rules, no warmth, and not permissive, which is all warmth, no structure. The middle path.
A curfew set together, reviewed regularly, with grace for the occasional late text. That's the formula.
And if you do miss curfew, own it immediately. Nothing makes a parent angrier than finding out you were home late and you didn't call.
The cover-up is always worse than the crime. Ancient wisdom applies to curfews, applies to everything.
So bottom line, curfew as control feels like a cage. Curfew as care feels like a safety net.
Same rule, totally different relationship depending on how it's built and how it's held.
The conversation around the curfew matters as much as the curfew itself.
Talk to your people. Tell them where you're going, who you'll be with, and when you'll be back before they ask.
Because information is the enemy of anxiety, and anxious parents set earlier curfews.
That is the most practical advice we have ever given on this show.
We contain multitudes. Thanks for listening, everyone. Tell us your curfew stories. We want to hear them.
And until next time, negotiate kindly, text when you're running late, and see you next week on the Family Playbook.